We're in a new section of the Premiere Pro course, and this section is all about audio. So we're going to learn things like adjusting audio levels, adding audio effects, making our audio sound better, and even adding music to our videos. So we're going to walk through our project, and the first thing we're going to learn is how to change the audio levels, how loud or quiet your audio is. And there's a number of ways to do this. So we're going to go through all of the ones that I use. And sometimes I use all of these methods in the same project because they do different things. So if you want to just increase or decrease the volume of a specific audio clip, say this very first clip that we have in our little documentary, we have on our timeline tools to do so. If you open up your track, your audio track, so that you can see your audio waveforms, you should see this little line in the middle. If you click on that line and go down or up, you see these numbers pop up. There's a number and then dB. dB is decibel, and that's how we measure sound. So going down will decrease the audio, and going up will increase the audio. Okay, so you can just literally open up your audio track, move your mouse over to this line and move up or down. We can also get in here and do a little bit more advanced editing. So I'm going to zoom in here really quick. So say we're playing through this and this little peak right here, it's not that loud, but say we think it's too loud, or you do have a bit of audio that actually is too loud and you want to lower just that piece. Well, you could go in here and use the razor tool to cut around it, and then just take your mouse selector tool and decrease this little bit. But that's a little bit too much work for me. So I'm going to take my pen tool, P is the keyboard shortcut to get to the pen tool, and put points on this line. So I can put a point here, I could put a point here, I could put a point here, and I could put a point here. And then I could take my selection tool and I can decrease this middle point. These points act as anchors that lock the track audio to a specific point. So if you set a point, then you're basically saying at this point, I want my audio to be at this level. But you can move these points around. And if you have 2 points, you can move the bar in between the point up or down. Okay. This is also another way that you can create a custom transition. So I'm going to delete this constant power transition that we added last time. And I'm just going to take my pen tool, set a point there, and then take a point there. And now we have a completely customized
Same year I was diagnosed.
audio transition. And I can take my selector tool and move these around. Holding shift will also help you because it locks it to that decibel level. See if I don't hold shift, how I'm moving it left or right, but it kind of goes up or down in decibel level. If I hold shift down, it locks it to that level, 0 dB. What if we want to increase or decrease all of our clips at once? One way is by selecting multiple clips. For us, we're just going to select all of our audio clips, right-clicking them, and doing this audio gain effect. So if we click audio gain, we have different options. If we say adjust gain by, and then we put a positive or negative decibel level here, say we go 6, then say okay, all of these clips, and you just saw that the waveform, the actual audio of these clips increased. So we're not just editing the output like we did with this bar, we're actually editing the clip itself and increasing those audio waveforms by 6 decibels. So increasing that. So I'm going to undo that by pressing Command Z. Control Z is always undo on a PC. Say we want to edit these a little bit more smartly, intelligently. That's a better word. We can select all, say audio gain, and then let's say normalize max peak. Sometimes if you're working on a project and you're screening it at a film festival, or if you're playing it online, they'll ask you, set the max peak to -12 dB or whatever it is. So if we want it to be negative 12 dB, we can say normalize max peak to negative 12, then say OK. What it does is it finds the loudest point in all of these clips, and it puts that at negative 12, and then it adjusts all of the other clips with the same amount of reduction. So if it dropped the max peak, say 5 decibels, to get it to be negative 12, the output is negative 12, and we can see the output as negative 12 when we watch through it. So here on our audio track mixer, when you're watching this, under track 2, which we haven't really gone through this, we will go through this in just a second a little bit more, but we have our tracks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our master track, which combines all of our tracks together. In track 2, where our audio is, you'll see this decibel level bouncing up and down, negative 24, negative 17. The max one will now be negative 12, and the rest of them were decreased accordingly. Let me just undo that and then just show you the other option, which is if we go to audio gain and we say normalize all peaks, what this will do is it will look at the peaks in all of these clips, and it will raise each clip individually to be negative 12. And this is actually a cool tool to use. Say you were using multiple interviews in one piece. For example, if we interviewed Anthony for this documentary, then we interviewed his wife and his mom and his sister, and we combined it all in one video, but we shot on different locations, maybe with different cameras, maybe with different microphones, and they all recorded at a little bit different levels. We can select all of them, every clip in the interview, and we can say audio gain, normalize all peaks to negative 10 or whatever it is, and it will make all of the audio generally feel the same loudness. So that's a quick way to make all of your audio sound the same levels. The last way that I want to talk about changing the levels is by track, and that is what this audio track mixer is good for. So we saw this just recently, and we saw that we have our different tracks. We have our first track 1, 2, 3, 4, and they have sliders. So I'm going to play through this, and I'm just going to decrease the slider, and as I do this, the levels get lower and lower and lower until they are completely gone. The reason why I would want to use this is if I have, say, music on one track, interview audio on one track, background noise and effects on another track. Typically, music is a lot louder when you put it on your timeline, so we might want to just drop down the entire track level to adjust that audio mix. And we'll do that in a future lesson when we add music to our piece. So this is a great way to edit the track audio, meaning everything on this audio track will be adjusted. And we'll learn about audio effects, but you can also add audio effects to an entire track. If you drop down this little icon right here, it has this little menu where we can go through and add audio effects. If we want to add reverb, which is like sort of that echoiness that you get from your audio when you're shooting in a room. Or if you want to add some filters or equalization, which will improve the sound of your audio. We'll go through this in another future lesson shortly. We can add these clips for the entire track rather than having to do it through every single individual audio clip. This was a big lesson. Audio editing is very important though, because audio sometimes is more important than what's happening on screen, especially when people are watching our videos on their little phones or on their iPads when they're busy. Sometimes people will just listen to the videos and they don't even watch it because they have another tab open on their computer. So having good audio is really important. And now you should know how to adjust the audio levels of your video. So the action item for today is just to play around with the pen tool, maybe go through the interview that you've edited so far, and if there are any peaks that are really loud or any parts that are really soft, bring those up using the pen editor. When I was editing this interview, There are some moments that I had to do that with because Anthony, sometimes when he gets a little bit more emotional, he gets a little quieter when he's talking about a sad thing. And then when he's excited and emotional, he gets a little bit too loud. So I had to use the pen tool to adjust the levels of this interview. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson and continue learning about audio editing in Premiere Pro.